Welcome back to Nationalism in India, Part 2. There are different strands within the movement of non-cooperation. The non-cooperation Khilafat movement began in January 1921. Various social groups participated in this movement, each with its own specific aspirations. Let us see how the Swaraj, the term, meant different things to different people. As we already discussed, that British rule was established in India with the cooperation of Indians and had survived only because of this cooperation. If the Indians refused to cooperate, British rule in India would collapse. So this was the idea of non-cooperation. The movement started with the middle class participation in the cities. So the movement in towns. Thousands of students left government-controlled schools and colleges. Headmasters and teachers resigned, and the lawyers gave up their legal practices. The council elections were boycotted in the most of the provinces except Madras. So where the Justice Party, the non-Brahmin party, felt the entering council was the only way gaining some power. The effects of non-cooperation on the economic front were more dramatic. Foreign goods were boycotted, liquor shops picketed, and foreign clothes burnt in huge bonfires. So what do you mean by picketed? It's a demonstration or a protest by which people block the entrance of any shop or factory or office. The imported foreign cloth, it was halved between 1921 and 1922. In 1921, it was 102 crores import of foreign cloth, and it was reduced to only 57 crore in 1922. Its value dropping, and in many places merchants and traders refused to trade the foreign goods or finance foreign trade. That is helping in business. So if a foreign trade is carried out, some people will be giving money. So that type of money was not given for foreign trade. And production of Indian textile mills and handloom went up. So this was the effect of economic criteria. So this affected the British Empire. Non-cooperation movement in the cities gradually slowed down for a variety of reasons. Khadi cloth was more expensive than mass-produced milk cloth. And to make the non-cooperation movement successful, the emergence of Indian institutions did not take place at a quick manner. Its pace was very, very slow. And the students and teachers began trickling back to government schools, and lawyers joined back work in the government courts due to lack of proper institutions, educational institutions, which did not emerge. From the cities, the non-cooperation movement started to spread in the countryside, but it drew into its fold the struggles of peasants and tribals, which were developing in different parts of India in the year after the First World War. The Awadh Peasants were led by Baba Ramachandra. Who is this Baba Ramachandra? He is a sannyasi and had been earlier worked in Fiji as an indentured laborer. The movement was against talukdars and landlords who demanded from peasants exorbitantly high rents and variety of other seizures. Peasants had to do the beggar. What is this beggar? Without any compensation or salary or any labor, they have to work in the landlord's farms without any payment. As tenants, they had no security of tenure. Being regularly evicted too, they could acquire no right over the leased land. The peasant movement demanded reduction of revenue, abolition of beggar, and social boycott of oppressive landlords. In many places, Nai Dhobi bands were organized. What is this? Even barbers and washermen also were in protest, not accepting the clothes and not doing service to the landlords. So in June 1920, Jawaharlal Nehru began going around the villages in Awadh, talking to the villagers and trying to understand their grievances. By October, Awadh Kisan Sabha was set up headed by Jawaharlal Nehru, Baba Ramachandra and few others. Within a month, over 300 branches has been set up in the villages around the region. So, when the non-cooperative movement began that year, the effort of Congress was to integrate the Awadh peasant struggle into the wider struggle. However, the peasant movement developed certain things which the Congress leadership were unhappy. As the movement spread in 1921, the houses of talukdars and merchants were attacked, bazaars were looted, and grain hoards were taken over. In many places, local leaders told peasants that Gandhiji has declared that no taxes were to be paid and land was to be redistributed among the poor. In the name of Mahatma Gandhi, was being invoked to sanction all actions and aspirations of different peoples. In 1928, Vallabhbhai Patel led the peasant movement in Bardoli, a taluka in Gujarat, against the enhancement of land revenue, known as Bardoli Satyagraha. This movement was success under the able leadership of Vallabhbhai Patel. The struggle was widely publicized and generated immense sympathy in many parts of the country. Tribal peasants interpreted the message of Mahatma Gandhi and the idea of Swaraj in yet another way. Let us take an example. In the Gudam hills of Andhra Pradesh, a militant guerrilla movement spread in early 1920. Not a form of struggle that Congress could approve. In forest region, the colonial government had closed large forest areas, preventing people from entering the forest to graze their cattle or to collect fuelwood and fruits. This enraged the hill people. They thought that they did not only affect their livelihood, but they also affected their traditional rights, and it has been denied. When the government began forcing them to contribute to the beggar or for road building, the hill people revolted. The person who came to lead them was an interesting figure. He is known as Alluri Sitaram Raju. He claimed that he had variety of special powers. He could make a correct astrological prediction and heal the people, and even he could survive the bullet shots. Captivated by Raju, the rebels proclaimed that he was an incarnation of God. Raju talked of the greatness of Mahatma Gandhi, and he was inspired by the non-cooperation movement and persuaded people to wear khadi and give up drinking. But at some time, he asserted that India could be liberated only by the use of force, not non-violence. The Gudam rebels attacked the police station to kill British officials and carried on guerrilla warfare for achieving Swaraj. Raju was captured and executed in 1924, and he was considered as a folk hero. Swaraj in plantations. So, plantation workers in Assam, for them, freedom means to move freely in and out confined space. So, under the Inland Immigration Act 1859, plantation workers were not permitted to leave the tea gardens without permission. And in fact, they were given rarely such permissions. When they heard about the non-cooperation movements, thousands of workers defied the authorities, left the plantation and headed home. They believed that the Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given land in their own villages. However, they never reached their destination. Stranded on the way by a railway and steamer strike, they were caught by the police and brutally beaten up. The vision of these movements, like a tribal movement, then peasants and plantation workers, did not define within the Congress program. They interpreted the term Swaraj on their own ways. So they wanted to come out of their sufferings. They chanted, like tribals chanted, demanding Swatantra Bharat. They were also emotionally related to all India agitation. So they acted in the name of Mahatma Gandhi and linked their movement to that of Congress. And the non-cooperation movement came to an end by an incident happened in Chauri Chaura in Gorakhpur. So, at Chauri Chaura in Gorakhpur, a peaceful demonstration in bazaar turned into violent clash with the police. And hearing of this incident, Mahatma Gandhi called halt to the non-cooperation movement. In part 1, we saw about what is nationalism, how nationalism in India started. Then we saw about the First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation. We also had an idea of Satyagraha, the Rowlatt Act, then why non-cooperation is needed, and how differing strands within the movement in towns, rebellion in countryside, tribal people rebellion, Swaraj in plantation, and the end of non-cooperation movement. The next topic we are going to take up is towards civil disobedient movement, which is going to continue in part 3. Thank you.